What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the new 2025 Subaru Forester. This one is the Sport Hybrid finished in crystal white with an MSRP at $39,000. Let's get right into Subaru's Hybrid, see what this thing has to offer. Underneath the hood of the 2025 Subaru Forester Sport Hybrid, you're going to find the 2.5 liter boxer 4-cylinder engine with of course the hybrid drivetrain. Net horsepower is 194 with net torque at 199. This does feature all-wheel drive, a CVT transmission with a 6-speed shift mode. Max towing capacity is around 1,500 pounds, and this runs on a 16.6 gallon fuel tank. You can expect 35 miles per gallon in the city with 34 out on the highway, and overall max range is 581. The overall length is 183.3 inches with the wheelbase at 105.1. Width is 72.2 and height is 68.9 inches. Ground clearance is also 8.7 inches with curb weight at 3,900 pounds. Moving on to the exterior styling with the 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid, has a pretty nice look with a massive front grille. You got a cool design for the LED headlights and then all gloss black for the grille. We have our Subaru badge, some nice openings to provide some cooling, and then a little bit of the plastic black material down below. There is a nice bronze color accent, LED fog light, and overall this is a pretty bold design for the front end, giving it a lot more road presence. Looks much more like a normal SUV versus a mid-size crossover. On the hood you have some sharp body lines cutting towards the windshield, and then around the side that black plastic material makes its way into these fender flares. We also have a nice set of bronze wheels. These are 19-inch diameter with a multi-spoke look. Got a nice little trim piece behind the fender, and then our hybrid badge up above. You can see more of that plastic trim throughout the sides of the doors with more of the bronze color accents. You got body colored on the door handles and then metallic black for the mirror caps with an integrated turn signal. All black trim throughout the windows, and I like how the symmetrical all-wheel drive logo is in the back, and it gives it a cool black trim piece to cut the roof from the body color. You can see we have the massive sunroof up above with black on the roof rails, and then for the overall side profile, it's pretty proportional and it looks pretty rugged. I like the sharp lines throughout the front and rear fender arch. Gives it a nice sporty design. Another look at the logo in back, and then some black trim leading to that integrated spoiler. Got your wiper blade, Subaru badge, Forester logo along with the hybrid logo, and then some of this black plastic material down below. You have more of the bronze accents, single exhaust pipe, all of your parking sensors, and then I like how the taillights are connected with the gloss black bar. So overall the styling comes together quite nicely. Taking a look at the key fob, we have lock, unlock, as well as the tailgate release. I can go ahead and lock the vehicle. Unlock is actually the Subaru badge. However, you can of course just grab the door handle and it automatically unlocks. This one has a pretty cool vinyl interior with the multi-color texture. For the door panel, you have this smooth soft touch plastic and then this bronze fabric. You can see this cool texturized vinyl material, release handle, all of your controls down below with some padding on the armrest. Storage down below, a nice texture as well. Harman Kardon audio system, and then power controls on the seats. You're going to get this nice two-tone with a light gray and the dark gray. Then you have more bronze accents for some piping as well as the stitching. So pretty cool look overall. Then we have a 3-spoke design on the steering wheel with more bronze accents and the badge right in the center. And then now inside the 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid, keeping my foot on the brake, we can fire it up. The engine may not necessarily fire up all the time, but the EV system has. You're going to get the Subaru badge in the center, and then all sorts of controls on the left side for Bluetooth and audio. We have cruise control settings on the right, along with your 2 different drive modes. We have the steering intervention, lane keeping, and things like that. There are paddle shifters back here to control the CVT transmission, stalk on the right side for windshield wipers, stalk on the left for all the headlights. Taking a look at the gauge cluster, you can see a nice power indication along with your charge and eco, and then we have the speedometer on the right. It'll show you the EV right now, so right now we're still in EV mode. And then depending on the drive mode, you can see that change as well. On the left side, we're going to get a couple different icons. We have our EV mode icon that you can configure and drive in a slow speed. Of course, certain speeds or too much acceleration, that will shut off. We have our foot assist. You can turn that on and off. Power tailgate, of course, your fuel cap. Some more of this cool texture material on the dashboard, and then just a black plastic across the rest of the dash. We have this nice texturized design for the airbag cover with more bronze accents. And then moving to the screen in the center, basically what you're used to seeing on all the new Subarus. We do have some nice icons up above for different information for the vehicle. You can go to your weather, nav, and other things will pop up. For the screen, we have all sorts of different tiles. You can swipe left and right. Only drawback with the screen, there's definitely some lag to it that is kind of annoying. So that is probably one of my biggest complaints with the screen. You can configure the climate control as well. You can go into all of that, dual zone. So not the greatest screen out there, just the lag seems a little annoying. Air conditioning will pop up. And then going into reverse, you have a small backup camera up above. Would be nice to utilize more of the screen. However, at least you can still utilize climate while you're in this. Drive mode's up above. You can see the snow, normal, and then the deep snow. And then back into this menu, we can go ahead and turn that screen back on. On the right side, you're going to get controls for the temperature, defroster as well, and then hazards up above with tuning and scrolling on that right side. Down below, we have our car icon you can go into. You're going to get a couple different controls that you can configure. We have driving assist you can play with, more settings, back to our home screen, and then driver profile as well. You're able to make all of those adjustments. We have some plugs down below, and then you can see wireless phone charging pad, gear selector, and then in the center we have 2 cup holders and an electronic parking brake. You have more of this nice rugged vinyl material with contrast stitching, storage down below, and then a nice sized glove box on the far right. One last look at the interior. Basically everything you're used to seeing on the current Subaru Forester. So nice layout overall. You have your simple mirror up above, your sunroof control. You can pop this down for a small sunglass holder. And then we have this massive manual sunshade for the roof. So a huge piece of glass, which is quite nice to see. And then just a black headliner up above. And then taking a look at the rear seat space, grabbing the door handle and opening it up. The door panel is finished off just like we saw up front with all the nice textures and materials. And then in back, you're also going to get the same vinyl seating with the light and dark gray. So cool color combinations. This can seat 3 people. We can pull this center one down. We have an armrest as well as 2 cup holders. There are going to be air vents in the center with a couple extra plugs and then quite a few storage cubbies behind the front seats. From here, you can just grab this pull pin and get these seats folded flat with more space into the trunk. And then hopping into the back seat with the Subaru Forester. So at 5'11", I do sit here really nicely. I have plenty of headroom, a couple inches. Driver's seat, even at my height, I have really good knee room and foot room. So for a family crossover, honestly, pretty well sized. Armrests are nice. You have a ton of glass throughout and you do have nice amenities. Got a light up on the ceiling and then a nice grab handle as well. Taking a look at the cargo space, we have the power liftgate. Just pressing that button once, it's gonna automatically pop open. Nice privacy cover as well, just to hide some of your items, and then we can easily slide that back in. Down below, you have a pretty good amount of space, some cool texture on those fender arches, subwoofer on that far right side. You have a couple hooks, you can pop this open, and this is gonna be where the battery's located, and you have just a little bit of extra hidden space with your tow hook and a screwdriver. On the right side, you also have a plug, and then from here, you can get this out of the way and give yourself a little bit of extra cargo space. And if you can reach, which isn't too bad, you're easily able to pop these seats flat. So nice and easy to get everything out of the way. And then of course that seatbelt you can detach for better cargo space. So overall, pretty good amount of storage in here. We have our lock button as well as the button up there, and we can easily close everything down. Taking one last look at the interior with the seats, they're gonna fold nice and flat, giving you a lot of area to put items. So definitely pretty practical crossover for people as well as items. So setting off now in the new hybrid Forester, pedal to the floor. All right, so it's obviously not a fast car. However, it's got enough pep, especially down low for like city driving and things like that, just to get you up and go. You can feel that extra EV power, which is quite nice. Now in the sharp mode, gets basically to full throttle a little bit quicker, not necessarily any faster in general, just gives you a little bit quicker pep in the throttle pedal basically. But overall driving, you know, we're going around 55. It's a pretty smooth to drive car. These seats are pretty comfortable. You have a really good view around. The glass is really large in the Forester. I think that's definitely a nice touch with an SUV like this. So can't complain with all of that. Over my right shoulder, plenty of visibility, same with my left. So it's a comfortable vehicle. You know, I'm fitting in here really well. I have a ton of headroom. It is a little funny with the manual sunshade. You really got to push it back there. If your arms aren't long enough, you might not be able to reach it to go ahead and close it. So just a little funny to mess with that. It's a little bit of a reach. But overall driving experience, you know, it's comfortable and smooth. The suspension absorbs bumps really well. The steering feel, you know, is nice and smooth. It's no sports car, but it's just a nice, easy vehicle to drive. This is gonna be your daily, and you want, you know, some sort of adventurous aspects to your vehicle, this Forester can do it. And with the range, you know, nearly 600 miles on a tank, this is gonna be a great adventure vehicle. We've had a couple of these as press cars in the last 2 years. And I mean, the gas mileage, especially with the hybrid, is definitely really good. And it's a nice place to be with plenty of space. It's not too big to where it would be difficult to park at all. It's just an easy SUV at the end of the day to drive without being any of the drawbacks with a big SUV. So you got a lot of space in here. I like the use of materials overall. I mean, you have some more soft touch plastics. You know, it's not a crazy high-end vehicle, but you have cool textures, cool materials just to make this feel fun. It's easy to clean if you get it dirty. Again, this is going to be an adventure vehicle, camping trips, things like that. So you're going to be going off the beaten path, and this is a vehicle that can handle quite a lot of it. I think my only complaint is just the screen has some lag, which I've noticed in all the Subarus when you first start it up. You know, sometimes it might take a minute or two for the climates and radio information to pop up. When I hop in a car, I want my music and climate set perfectly within the first 2 seconds. So to have to wait a minute or two is a little annoying. I feel like in today's day and age, the screen lag should not happen at all just because the technology is totally there. So screen lag is my only real complaint, I think, with these Subarus. Aside from that, it does work fine. It gives you all the information. And I don't really mind the climate controls being in the screen, especially since we have temperature right here. So if they could just dial in the screen lag, get that completely gone, I won't complain about that at all. So as a driver, you know, I think this is going to be just an easy, comfortable vehicle to drive. Maybe you've never owned an SUV before. Obviously, this is a crossover, so it's not really a jumbo SUV like a Tahoe or an Expedition. It's nothing intimidating to own or drive or park or even put in your driveway or garage. It's something that, you know, anybody can get into this and just enjoy driving it and do a lot with it. You can go camp and hiking. You can fit stuff in it, put a canoe on the top. You know, you can use this as a really good recreation vehicle and have the confidence to go for a very, very long time. So my honest thoughts now with the new hybrid Subaru Forester. To be honest, I'm surprised it took Subaru this long to create a hybrid. I don't think they've really had any hybrids, and they are a very kind of earth-loving type of car company. So a little interesting it took them this long, but nice to see that in the Forester, and hopefully they bring it to others throughout the lineup. Basically, this has added just better efficiency for city driving. That's kind of the most inefficient times of a car, your first initial acceleration, and then anytime you're coasting. So right now I'm going 45 miles an hour, and I'm in the eco green area, and the EV icon is on when I'm kind of just coasting. So at least the electronic power is able to assist the drive of the vehicle when you don't really demand much power. Same with down low, it gives you just a little bit extra helping when you're just getting up and moving, which those are the two most inefficient times, and it's nice to have that assistance to bump up the city MPG. Overall driving experience isn't really that much different than the normal gas version. I have noticed a couple times in parking lots, it's nice when you fire it up, engine doesn't necessarily turn on, and in EV mode, I can kind of move it up and down my driveway real quick without having the engine kick on. I like that aspect a lot with general hybrids. So this is going to be different from any sort of plug-in hybrid that other manufacturers offer. Maybe Subaru will do a plug-in as well. That'll give you more of the EV driving. The normal standard hybrids are more of just that assistance, which is quite nice. But driving characteristics are pretty nice. You know, it's smooth, comfortable, really can't complain about just the day-to-day using of it. Aside from depending on your own perspective, to me, this car is very slow. So obviously I like a lot faster cars with more power. However, you know, the typical buyer, it's good enough. It'll get up to speed and you don't really have to think about it all too much. So 200 horsepower and torque roughly, not too bad for a crossover that weighs like this. So I think they've adequately done this just to give you a nice adventure crossover without really making things too complicated, too expensive, or too just overbearing to use. It's an easy vehicle, it's really simple, and it's nicely appointed to feel like it kind of fits the price point very nicely. So I don't think there's any drastic drawbacks with this. The safety systems all work. It's got the ground clearance too, the overhangs, and the X-Mode all-wheel drive system, to where it's going to be pretty capable off-road. There's a lot of Subaru owners who actually off-road these, not only for fun, but for the general trails, things like that, if they're going camping or hiking up some mountain. So it's a pretty capable vehicle, and I like the confidence it gives you with the insane range from the hybrid power plant, to where You fill it up once and you are good to go for as long as your adventure is gonna last. But there is the 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid version. Pretty cool way to go for the buyer looking for an adventurous lifestyle and a good fuel economy in a crossover. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content, and then I'll see you guys in the next video.